Welcome to the Launch to Six podcast, a podcast about how you can launch your online business from 0 to 6 figures in 24 months or less, regardless of your prior experience. Now, here's your hosts.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Launch to Six podcast. Today it is a death match. It is the battle of the two big platforms that we have on the market today for marketing. Many marketings there. Facebook versus YouTube, the two big competitors when it comes to advertising. I'm here with my good fellow musketeer, Tom. Hey man, how's it going?
What's up, guys?
Good. And we sort of boiled down to some key points, 4 real key points of difference, and we'll sort of go through them. And I'll just outline them to start with, guys. So here's the real key points between these two platforms. So 1 being budget, 2 your creative, and we'll go into that in a second. Audience type, 3, and your call to action, 4. Tom, where do we start? Let's start with the budget then. Let's go in order, mate. How would we say the differentiators between YouTube ads, Facebook ads, that budget element? Because people obviously, they're getting started, like, oh, the YouTube sounds expensive, or Facebook, my God, it's going to eat my money. Where do we start with this? I mean,
so if I can compare right now budgets, Facebook's good to get started with just $10, $20 a day, because when you're spending Facebook's algorithm, their back-end AI will find you the right customer. So it's great for $100. It's great for beginners. Okay, it's really good for beginners to start at small budgets, but YouTube is also good with small budgets. It does spend quite fast. So the problem people have with Facebook is you can't scale as quick. So if you want to grow your business fast, I mean really fast, Facebook's probably not the best ad platform. It takes longer. With YouTube, you can scale a lot quicker, but you must test small, because it will spend that cash like that. It will spend your money fast. So you must test small. So YouTube is better for aggressive scale. Facebook's probably safer to begin with if you're new.
Yeah, and one of the big reasons for that, guys, is that YouTube has got less advertisers on. So I can't remember the exact stat. I think it was that 8 million plus marketers on Facebook versus about 1 or 2 on YouTube. So there is a big difference with regards to the type of audience and so on and so forth within that. We'll go into our next point. So guys, our next key point of difference is the creative. Now, I'll start this. Basically, one with the creative type in Facebook is very simple. Generally, it's an image and some copy, and you've got to have a good, strong image to get an emotive response from your audience. And so you've got to generally just have that, it's quite an easy thing to get started. You could have a very good copy headline and quite a simple image, and you could start to gain leads. Whereas obviously with YouTube, it's a very different type. You have an inline ad, as it were. So this is in the flow of the video, and it's a video. So this is something really interesting. So a lot of people don't necessarily want to get on video. So this is, again, the barrier of entry, how comfortable you are on video, if it's going to be you in the advert, or you have to get a video produced and created. So those are really the key big differences. I don't know what more to add to that, Tom. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, for sure. I would say if you step back and look at the behavior of your leads on Facebook, the behavior is different. So on Facebook, they're scrolling. Yeah. When you're on Facebook, you scroll on that phone. They are in a more passive state. YouTube people are learning, or they want to be entertained. They're learning or want to be entertained is very, very, very different. Extremely different. So think about it. I'm on YouTube. I'm learning how to invest in real estate. It's very, very different. However, when it comes to Facebook, I'm scrolling and I'm in a passive state. So YouTube, you need to make your ad compelling so they click. You need to get them off the YouTube platform to click. It needs to be exciting, and you need to tell them, click that link. So you need to have more of an aggressive ad. You need to have more of a compelling ad. Facebook, it can be less aggressive in the terms of getting them to click because they're more passive, they're bored. YouTube, they're learning or they're watching cat videos. You got to make sure it's good enough to get them to click. That's how it works, Thomas, really, to keep it simple. YouTube, you need to be a little bit more exciting in your ad, the video. It needs to be compelling. You could do it on your iPhone. It doesn't matter, but it needs to speak to their problem. It needs to make them interested.
Yeah.
Facebook's different. Facebook's more passive people, and they're like, oh, this sounds interesting. These people like, oh, this is really interesting. It's you can see what I'm in. It's slightly different.
And another point with the creative with YouTube versus Facebook, of course, I mean, you've got copy, image, and as you say, you've got your behavior of your user. Now, another key point to remember with YouTube is obviously that key first for 30 seconds. You can qualify that audience, and generally people go and skip.
Yeah.
But you can qualify. You can go, hey, you X, whatever that call to action is, that initial call to action. Bear in mind, you've got a couple of points of decision, if you know what I mean. So you've got one, your audience want to view your ad. That's a decision that they want to spend their time. Two, is that then action to then take them away from the ad.
Yes.
They click on your call to action, and that brings me on to very nicely onto my next point. So there's those key points of difference between the two platforms. We've covered budget, we've covered creative. I'm going to switch this around. We're going to go straight into call to action. Tom, mate, I mean, both these platforms have got very different capabilities when it comes to call to action.
For sure.
Facebook can draw you straight off into your lander. YouTube can do very similar. What difference?
Let me go through it. Yeah. Facebook, you can do something called a lead ad. They click the ad and it pre-populates their name and email and it stays on Facebook. That's called a lead ad. That's great for targeting businesses. So they click the image and it pre-populates a form within Facebook. But the common ad is a conversion ad where they click the link. And I would say always, as a real tactical, always have learn more on there. That works the best. And always tell them what to do in your words, which is your copy. In internet marketing terms, tell them what to do next. So if you're interested in learning this free training about how to get six-pack abs, click the link right now in the description to get started. That's a call to action.
Yeah.
In Facebook, again, it's more passive because they're passive users. So it's not, the leads are probably not as good as YouTube, if I'm being honest, if I'm comparing here. YouTube, you need to tell them. I would like to tell them to click the link within 45 seconds, 50 seconds. Because remember, that person's getting impatient because they're about to watch a video. Let's just say I'm retargeting a male in his 40s and he's about to watch a UFC highlights with Conor McGregor knockout. I need to make my ad more entertaining than Conor McGregor's knockout.
Yeah. It's a very.
I need to get them interested. I need to I need to hit their pain points. If they have acne, I need to tell them you can clear your acne in 30 days if you click the link right now.
Yeah.
I need to get them motive, like you said. You well said there.
Yeah, absolutely. And
said it well.
Too right. And onto our final sort of key difference, guys. So audience type. Now, we've mentioned this before a little bit, just with regards to the audience behavior, but you have got a very different type of audience on each platform. And this is something to really bear in mind. Now, obviously, you want to test and utilize both sort of platforms, as many platforms as you can to test and measure. However, just based on the nature of your product and what you're actually marketing, certain platforms might suit you better. And I mean, just with Facebook, as you say, they're tending to be, passive scrollers. And I mean, YouTube, there's some key elements in where you can essentially place those ads with the certain type of content. So you can really qualify with this. I don't know what more you add to that, Tom.
For sure. I would say, like I said, guys, I would just keep things simple when it comes to Facebook and YouTube. I wouldn't overcomplicate it, to be honest, because the key thing is making an ad compelling enough for them to click. So everything else is the same. Obviously, YouTube, there's no text. It's just a video. So you need to make your video emotive. The good thing with YouTube is I just think the audience is more willing to digest your info on the next page. When they click, they're more willing to digest. A little tip, I would always have a video as your giveaway because they're in a state of watching video. So don't give away a cheat sheet, give away a video or a training series or something along those lines. Facebook, it works better giving away cheat sheets. So like a downloadable, because people are like a lot passive, they're a bit bored, they're a bit lazy on Facebook because they're like, oh, let me just scroll through and see what my friends are doing. I'm a little bored today. And then they see your ad and they're like, oh, hang on a minute. So The key with both of these ads is pattern. The thing that they do share in common is a pattern interrupt. If I had to choose, I would say what's more powerful on a pattern interrupt? It would be YouTube. It evokes a different audience. Their leads, they see you and they want more of you because you took them away from something they were interested in. It's a bit different.
No, absolutely. No, I think that's a fantastic point to end on. To summarize, guys, the big death match, Facebook versus YouTube, the battle of the titans, key points of difference, budget, creative, audience, call to action. These are all really key points to consider when testing and getting onto these platforms. So guys, as always, check out our Launch to 6 Facebook community, our group. There's some amazing content in there, people, great network. Your network is your net worth. And as always, check us out. Come in, you can jump on a Calendly link, book in a call. We're always happy to chat and share more. And yeah, guys, thank you very much for lending your ears, and catch you on the next one.
Amazing.